a jewelry trove handed down through generations, born of high society glamour and culminating in a jaw-dropping discovery. Inherited from her great-aunt Indiola, who mingled with New York elites in the early 20th century, these pieces traveled through family hands before landing in hers.
They actually originally belonged to my great-aunt Indiola on my mother's side. Aunt Indiola was married to a gentleman by the name of Clem Keyes, who was a very important airline promoter and financier back in the early part of the century. They lived in high society circles in New York, and I believe that's where my aunt acquired them, later passed them on to my mother and eventually to me.
We begin with an engraved Art Deco pendant necklace, carved from rock crystal and accented with seed pearls and diamonds in a neoclassical motif. Then comes a stunning Art Deco bracelet, glittering with diamonds from the roaring mid to late 1920s, a showpiece of American craftsmanship. A brooch follows, set with a Ceylon sapphire and an open work of diamonds, likely made in the United States, yet styled with the elegance of European design. We also find a natural pearl necklace, strung with precision and crowned by a diamond clasp. Pearls like these were a symbol of wealth and subtle rebellion in the Jazz Age. And finally, the crown jewel, a diamond ring of elongated rectangular cut, its stone classified as a Golconda, among the rarest, whitest, and most coveted diamonds in existence. Golconda stones hail from India's legendary mines, where centuries-old diamonds were prized for their spectral fire and icy purity. This one dazzles just the same.
And with Golconda stones, they have a particular phenomenon that occurs in them. When they are exposed to light, when they're in daylight, they get super white. Most diamonds are graded on a scale of D through Z, but even a Golconda would be a D plus in terms of color. It would be high up there. These stones are white, the light dances in them. They're very, very sought after stones.
Though none of the pieces bear hallmarks, their quality and style reveal the hands of expert American artisans working at the peak of Art Deco elegance.
So all these pieces date from the 1920s. The bracelet itself would be mid-1920s to the late 1920s. Now, there are no hallmarks on the item, but based on the craftsmanship, the type of workmanship, I would tend to think that this piece was American. The brooch also. No hallmarks, but appears to be American as well.
The pendant necklace alone, in today's market, would command a retail value estimated at
value on this would be between $5,000 and $7,000 on the necklace.
The sapphire brooch, in its wonderful condition, would be valued at an approximate
value on this would be between $10,000 and $15,000.
The pearl strand built with nothing but natural pearls would sell at a market value of
would be between $20,000 and $25,000.
The bracelet, a pinnacle of American jewelry of the early 20th century, would sell at retail for
would be between $40,000 and $60,000.
Oh my.
And that extraordinary Golconda diamond ring? At auction, it could bring between
at auction would be between $70,000 and $90,000.
Wow.
I really appreciate your bringing them in today.
Well, thank you very much.
A tiny timepiece wrapped in mystery, drenched in elegance, and sparkling with stories from the turn of the century. This dazzling heirloom was passed down with little fanfare, but reveals a lineage worthy of the Tiffany name.
I inherited the watch from my sister, who passed away a few years ago, and apparently it was a family piece.
Behold a black enamel lady's watch, encircled entirely by a constellation of rose-cut diamonds that shimmer on every surface. Made around 1900, the craftsmanship speaks of a time when fine watches were less about timekeeping and more about prestige.
For a lady's pendant watch to have lasted 120 years, give or take, and have no enamel damage or chipping is just a rare feat. It's almost like it was produced, sold, put in a box, and never used.
Wow.
What sets this piece apart is its rare triple signature on the dial, the movement, and the case, each proudly bearing Tiffany & Company. That triple hallmark is a collector's dream, confirming authenticity across the most critical components of the piece. The rose-cut diamonds, with their soft, romantic sparkle, reflect light like candle flames, just as they were meant to in the parlors of the Gilded Age. Black enamel cloaks the body like formal wear, elegant and deliberate, turning this from jewelry into wearable sculpture. This watch was never just an accessory. It was a silent proclamation of wealth, style, and social position.
The dial is not just a plain dial, it's completely hand-painted in multicolor. Another trademark of Tiffany is that the case, the gauge of the metal in this watch is very, very heavy. It probably is twice the gauge of almost any other gold watches produced.
Over a century later, its condition remains superb, a testament to its careful ownership and timeless appeal. With its rarity, maker, and exquisite detailing, this Tiffany watch could command a retail value of up to
Would sell in the $12,000 to $14,000 price range.
Oh my gosh.
a mysterious blue serpent, passed from brother to mother, now slithers its way into the spotlight with surprising charm. Once a beloved oddity in a personal collection, it now reveals itself as a rare 19th century French treasure.
My brother owned it. He loved art glass, and my mother now has it in her collection of paperweights.
What appears to be a simple art glass object is, in fact, a coiled snake paperweight made from luminous blue opaline glass. Opaline, known for its rich, milky glow, was a French specialty, crafted by prestigious houses like Baccarat, St. Louis, and Clichy.
This would have been made during the classic period that the French did paperweights, which is the 1840s and 60s. Normally, you would find a white goblet or decanter, and they would take the blue glass and coil it around as a snake and do it on the outside of a form. But here, they actually coiled the glass and made a three-dimensional snake paperweight as an individual object. Now, that's very unusual.
Unlike the typical goblets adorned with coiled snakes, this piece boldly transforms the snake itself into a freestanding sculptural form. Its dimensionality is rare, its shape unexpected, and its surface elegantly finished with delicate gilding on the top. From the base, the smooth opaline glass gleams in soft shades of blue, an irresistible color that captivates collectors and casual admirers alike. Dating from the 1840s to 1860s, this falls into the classic period of French paperweight artistry. Pantin once created a salamander in opaline, but an animal rendered freeform like this snake? Virtually unheard of. The lack of a maker's mark is not a flaw, but a sign of authenticity. French artisans of the time simply didn't sign their work. Had it been coiled around a goblet, its value might be modest, but as a standalone, gilded paperweight, it's in a league of its own. In today's market, this rare opaline snake would be valued at a range between...
As a paperweight itself, I would put a value of about $2,500 to $3,500 on it right now.
How exciting!
It's a great thing, and it's really a marvelous piece of French 19th century glass. I want to thank you for bringing it in.
Well, thank you very much, and now we're all going to be fighting over the snake, so thank you.
A bowl that seems to glow from within, alive with dancing elves and a whisper of mischief from another realm. Passed down with little fanfare, it turns out to be a magical creation straight from the golden age of English ceramics.
This has a number of wonderful characteristics for it. First, it's not a typical bowl, but
This is a Wedgwood bone china-footed bowl, wrapped in what's known as flame fairyland luster. An enchanting orange glow populated with whimsical fairies and leaping gnomes. The outer surface features a rare pattern called leapfrogging elves, complete with a charming verse that winds its way around the rim like a spell in porcelain. Lines like, "Gray for the goblins, blue for the elves," give this bowl a lyrical spirit that's as collectible as its design.
elves. And it's got this wonderful verse around the outside. And I was looking to see where it began, and actually I think I found it. It says, gray for the goblins, blue for the elves, brown for the little gnomes that live by themselves, white for the pixies that dance upon the green, but where shall I find me a robe for the queen?
Yes.
Crafted around 1920, the bowl belongs to Wedgwood's celebrated Fairyland Luster series, envisioned by the wildly imaginative Daisy McKeag Jones. While most pieces were unsigned, this one hides a rare MJ signature etched into the rocks. Daisy's quiet nod from behind the curtain.
Now, these were designed initially by a lady called Daisy McKeag Jones. And she just had a wonderful imagination, but seldom do we get signed pieces of Daisy. This piece is signed in the rocks. MJ. We almost never find them.
The bone china base bears the expected Wedgwood mark, confirming its origin and placing it firmly in the designer's most active years. Its delicate form, rich iridescence, and storybook illustrations elevate it from decorative piece to fantastical relic. Finding a signed Mackay Jones bowl in perfect condition is something collectors dream of but almost never see. In today's market, this leapfrogging elves bowl carries not just charm, but serious value around.
On the market today, I would expect it to bring anywhere from $7,500 to $10,000.
Oh, that's wonderful.
A casual gift pulled from a dusty bin in Seattle turns out to be a pop art gem that soars far above expectation. The guest received it from a friend and coworker, just a few dollars spent on instinct, and a promise to split the surprise if it proved valuable.
It was given to me by a friend. He's from the Seattle area. He was in a little shop and there was a bunch of rolled up posters in a bin, and he just liked it, probably paid a few dollars for it, and that's really all I know.
Presented as a vintage travel poster for TWA flights to New York City, designed by the visionary mid-century artist David Klein.
This is one of the more recognizable and one of the more popular images that he designed.
Really?
And in my opinion, it is one of the greatest graphic depictions of Times Square.
Created in 1956, this piece captures Times Square in a kaleidoscopic whirl of color, geometry, and movement, alive with energy. Klein, known for his bold style, worked extensively for TWA, and this is considered one of his most iconic contributions to airline advertising. The print is a hybrid. Its brilliant colors are laid on through silkscreen, while its intricate base is photolithographed for sharp detail.
He captures all of the energy, he captures all of the excitement, he captures all of the movement. It was done in 1956.
Above the city floats the TWA Lockheed constellation, nicknamed the Connie, a propeller plane that once ushered travelers across the Atlantic.
The plane is the TWA Lockheed Constellation, known as the Connie. They were considered great airplanes.
Okay.
You see it was a propeller plane, there's the propellers on
Right.
it. And with these planes, TWA was able to initiate full service to Europe.
This small detail tells us everything. Only the earliest editions featured the Connie, before jets replaced it in later reprints. And it's not just collectors who admire this work. This very poster is part of the permanent collection at the Museum of Modern Art in New York.
The company liked it so much that they continued to reuse it in subsequent years. But there's one way that we can tell that this is the original printing and not a later printing, and that is the airplane itself. Because shortly after 1956, propeller planes were phased out and jet planes were phased in. So subsequent printings of this poster don't show the detailed constellation. They show the silhouette of a jet plane actually leaving a vapor trail behind it as it goes across.
Oh my goodness.
The design, the rarity, and the place in aviation history make this far more than just wall art. It may have been a generous gift, but it's one with real weight in the world of graphic design and travel memorabilia. At auction, this original David Klein TWA poster would be valued between
$2,500 and $3,500.
Oh my gosh. Oh, he's going to be so thrilled.
an unexpected treasure left behind in a Hawaiian home now reveals itself as a sacred sculpture steeped in centuries of reverence. When the guest's parents purchased a fully furnished house, they inherited this serene figure, never imagining its true spiritual and historical weight.
Kuan Yin, the goddess of mercy, and she's sitting on some lotus leaves. This came into the family when my parents bought a house in Hawaii. The house was fully furnished with antiques and furniture and whatever.
Presented is a wooden statue of Kuan Yin, the goddess of mercy, seated gracefully upon lotus leaves, exuding calm from every angle. Her features are delicate yet striking downcast eyes, a narrow aquiline nose, and pursed lips, unusual traits that hint at a date far older than first assumed. The crown, adorned with carved pearls, mirrors the ornate tiered necklace across her chest motifs found in both Ming and earlier dynasties. Sharp, cascading folds in the robes and the upright, oversized lotus leaves suggest this was made in a provincial workshop where tradition met bold expression.
So with sculpture, we're looking at the way the robes fall, the very sharp lines of these robes as it falls over the body and it kind of cascades over the hands. You'll notice that there's an old repair here.
An old iron repair hints at a long life of devotion, while the darkened face tells of incense rising in swirling devotion over centuries. Once brilliantly painted with reds, greens, and golds, only faint traces of pigment remain whispers of its original splendor, now fading into wood. That wood, Nanmu, was prized in China for its durability, resistance to decay, and ability to hold intricate detail without warping. While the exact date remains elusive, the sculpture bears the hallmarks of the Liao dynasty, which spanned from 907 to 1125. Even if it hails from just beyond that era, its craftsmanship and religious significance place it firmly in the realm of museum-quality relics. For insurance purposes, this remarkable Guanyin figure would be valued at approximately...
Insurance figure, I would feel pretty comfortable with about $20,000.
A boy raised within earshot of the speedway, a derby car tuned by a racing legend, and a flag that now captures the soul of a tragic, unforgettable race. Our guest grew up in the shadow of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where the roar of engines echoed through his childhood like a hymn.
Plug. I grew up just a couple of miles from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway track. And all through my grade school and high school days, I listened to the cars in the early spring going around. This flag was signed by 31 of the 33 drivers in 1958.
Presented is a checkered flag from the 1958 Indy 500, signed by 31 of the 33 drivers who raced that day.
On the day of the race, on lap number 1, 1958, all 33 cars were headed down the backstretch on lap number 1, and two drivers, Ed Elysian and Dick Rathman, tried to reach turn 3, both of them at the same time, and it caused an accident that Pat O'Connor was killed in before they even completed lap number 1. Right. So that's what makes this particular year eventful but tragic, and of course it was later won by Jimmy Bryant.
Among the names is Pat O'Connor, whose fatal crash on the very first lap cast a somber tone over the entire event. The winner, Jimmy Bryant, somehow reserved the flag center for his signature, a mystery that deepens its lore with every passing year. 18 additional autographs grace the flag. Racing dignitaries, past champions, and names that once ruled the brickyard.
In another spot. No. Sometimes what we'll see is we'll see the driver who wins on another spot and then again in that center position after they've won.
We've got 18 other signatures on here of people that were related to racing, racing dignitaries, former winners. So you've got 31 plus 18. That's the number of signatures that are on this flag. And as far as I know, it's the only flag of its sort.
Yeah. Originally owned by a photographer named Cook, the flag was rediscovered decades later at an estate sale where it found its current home. For the guest, the memories run deeper. Pat O'Connor himself once helped align the wheels on his soapbox derby car, earning him an extra burst of speed and a lifelong story.
And so I grew up looking over the kitchen table, and my dad and maybe a couple of these drivers would be there, and they'd have a cold beer while they talked taxes. In 1956, I was in the soapbox derby, and I had to build my own car. And that year, Pat O'Connor came to our house to have his taxes done, and he brought Ray Nichols with him as chief mechanic. I said, Pat, I've got my soapbox derby out in the garage. Would you like to come and see it? And he said, sure. And he got Ray Nichols, chief mechanic, and Pat went out to my garage, and they said, looks really good, Jackie, but you've got to align the tires. And they spent time and they got my tires aligned, and I raced my car and I got more speed out of it in the soapbox derby because of Pat O'Connor.
The flag is more than memorabilia. It's a personal relic wrapped in nostalgia, loss, and motor oil. The scarcity is unmatched. As far as records show, no other flag from that race with this combination of signatures exists. He paid around $1,000 at the time, expecting little more than a treasured memento.
So tell me how you got it.
A photographer by the name of Cook had it. passed away about 20 years ago. An auction company had an estate sale, and I went to that hoping to get photographs. This came up for sale, and I bid on it and bought it.
Today, this singular piece of racing history carries an insurance value of,
For insurance purposes, of $10,000.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Wow. I didn't expect that. Yeah, marvelous.
a forgotten plaque, rescued from the shadows of a dusty shed, now glows with quiet elegance and surprising worth. The guest had kept it hanging in her bedroom, unaware that beneath the grime lay a treasure born of American ceramic artistry.
Found it in a shed. It was covered with filth. I just kind of cleaned it up a little bit, and it's been hanging in my bedroom. And when we got tickets for the show, I was trying to think of what to bring, and I thought, well, I'll take that plaque and see if I can find out anything about it.
Presented is a scenic vellum plaque by Rookwood pottery, featuring a snow-covered dusk landscape cloaked in soft, fading light. The delicate winter scene is painted by Sally Coyne, one of Rookwood's longest-serving artists, who worked from the 1890s until just before her death in the mid-30s. Coyne's signature graces the lower edge, while the back bears the unmistakable RP flame mark, along with Roman numerals, revealing the date, 1918. The plaque remains set in its original arts and crafts style frame, enhancing both its aesthetic and its collector's appeal.
That is the Rookwood pottery mark, RP, and when it's filled with these little flames, the dates after 1900 are added in Roman numeral, so this is 1918. This is the original price.
Rookwood's vellum glaze was especially prized, created by layering thousands of tiny bubbles to refract light with a soft, matte glow. Though the surface shows light crazing from age, careful soaking could restore its brightness without compromising the original finish.
You said you've cleaned some of it. Did you remove the piece?
No.
You can pop these little nails out and soak it in very warm water and a little bit of detergent. Soak it overnight, and that'll get into some of the crazing over here, and that should lighten all of that.
Originally sold for just $2, this was once a modest decorative piece for an early 20th century home. But what was once simple and overlooked is now a cherished example of American ceramic art. Its quiet beauty, historic frame, and artist's signature make it a standout among Rookwood's scenic plaques. Today, this snowy twilight treasure would be valued between
$4,000 to $5,000.
Oh my gosh, you're kidding. It's amazing.